What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to Sportskeeda MMA News. Brendan Schaub chimes in on Conor McGregor not being tested despite talks of his return. Chael Sonnen believes Valentina Shevchenko might be an insincere person. Tyron Woodley discusses Jake Paul's crusade and fighter pay. Brendan Schaub weighs in on Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya's feud. A UFC fighter wants to use his ability to work his way onto the Joe Rogan Experience. Find out in today's edition of Sportskeeda MMA News. Brendan Schaub has a huge presence in the comedy and podcasting community, but he first earned recognition from being part of the UFC's heavyweight division. That's right, that hipster dude wearing glasses and a weird neck thing knocked out fighters like Mirko Cro Cop. Regardless of how much fight fans love to hate him, Schaub has fight experience and knows how the UFC operates. On a recent episode of The Schaub Show, the titular host delved into Jorge Masvidal's claim that Conor McGregor is on steroids. McGregor was last seen in action a year ago. This last performance resulted in the Irishman suffering from a grotesque leg injury that subsequently stopped the fight. According to Schaub, USADA hasn't tested the Notorious in a year.
What worries me is, remember, the UFC hired USADA, so USADA works for the UFC. So I'm curious on how much influence the UFC has on who they're testing, when they're testing them. Because for them not to test Conor for an entire year after a leg break, even though he's on a yacht, I know it's tough, but it's like, that's very strange.
Masvidal isn't the only person that has spoken out on McGregor's lack of testing. Michael Bisping, on his Believe You Me, spoke out and said, "Very simple, they don't. I don't think USADA are testing him. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's doing steroids. Maybe he's taking something to help the bones and the rod, the titanium shin bone, to help it heal and fuse together." What do you think? Is it odd that McGregor isn't getting tested? Do you think the UFC is protecting him? While you're sharing this video, feel free to hit that subscribe button too. Fine, you can also hit the like button. Valentina Shevchenko is in the headlines not just for being controversial, but also for being too non-controversial. Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense, but let's hear Uncle Chael out. Controversy is Chael's middle name. Or is it Icon? I always forget what the P stands for. Whatever. Anyways, Sonnen is no stranger to hurting someone's feelings. He made a career for himself by talking trash and having one of the cleanest double leg takedowns that the MMA community has ever seen. Sonnen took to his YouTube channel to discuss Bullet and how she seemingly is never in controversy's wake.
That she just hasn't picked a side. Anybody who's been in this organization as long as she has been in it and has never done anything to upset the audience is probably being pretty insincere. If you're caught on camera for 7 straight years in some of your most glorious and some of your most vulnerable moments, and you never scuff your knee on the side of offending somebody, of being unsportsmanlike, of challenged, of doing anything that would put you in a negative category, you're probably a very insincere person. You're probably acting and playing a character.
Though Shevchenko isn't controversial, her last fight sure is. The bar is set very high for the flyweight champion. When she failed to bulldoze through Taylor Santos, fans were shocked to see a very competitive fight. The split decision saw Shevchenko get the nod, but many fans and one judge thought the Brazilian challenger locked the first 3 rounds. What did you make of the match? Let us know in the comments and stand a chance to be featured in the next video. Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley are more similar than they think. They both love fighting, they both have songs we've downloaded, and they both believe that fighters deserve more than they're getting. However, they're going to argue about it because why not? Though the chosen one agrees with what Paul says, he doesn't think that he's the one to be preaching on a soapbox. When discussing this on the Residency podcast, Woodley said,
"You've never been underpaid, you shouldn't be the spokesperson for underpaid athletes. If you never had to do adversity, if you never had signed to a promoter that controls your fights and when you fought and how often you fought and been threatened, if you don't fight, I got threatened all my last title fights. You don't fight him, we strip me the belt. You don't fight him, we kick me off. You know,
That's that pressure, yeah.
Every time.
Right.
Darren Till fight, Usman fight, and Wonder Boy fight, but it's the business.
Woodley, who made more money in 2 boxing matches against Jake Paul than he did in his entire run as welterweight champion, plans to keep fighting outside of the UFC and continue being a part of these bigger paydays. Comment down below and let us know your thoughts on UFC's fighter pay. Dana White is possibly the most transparent promoter that combat sports has ever seen. When he's happy, he's happy. When he's irritated, everyone knows it. If he dislikes someone, everyone knows it. If he's red in the face, everyone within a 5-mile radius knows it. With that being said, Dana and former professional boxer and now promoter Oscar De La Hoya have gone back and forth time and time again. The two really don't like each other. However, the former boxer has expressed the desire to work with White. Brendan Schaub took to his YouTube channel to react.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Could be because boxing's corrupt no matter what. Dana went all out on. It got really nasty. So take it from a guy who had his issues with Dana. I've apologized and I'm a fan. He's not a guy who forgives very easily. And when it comes to De La Hoya, De La Hoya is going to benefit more from Dana than Dana De La Hoya's.
Dana White has co-promoted a boxing event before when McGregor laced up the gloves to fight Floyd Mayweather. This match was a very lucrative move for everyone involved, including Dana. While there's more cross-promotion that would be very exciting, like Francis Ngannou taking on Tyson Fury, it seems unlikely that Dana will go down that path again. Should Dana consider working with De La Hoya? Let us know down below. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Josh Emmett has earned a main event spot against a higher ranked opponent, but he wants more, after hopefully delivering a career best performance. Emmett is looking to sit across from Joe Rogan in the studio and be a guest on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. When talking to the Schmo, Emmett mentioned that he made reservations at a sushi spot that Rogan recommended to him. Segueing off the mention of Rogan, he added,
I'm actually going to that sushi spot he posted on Instagram saying it's one of the best sushi spots in Austin and all around. And so I made reservations with my wife and I on Monday. But yeah, I'm going to put on a hell of a performance for him. It would be cool to get on his show eventually.
Emmett has a very difficult fight in front of him though. Calvin Kattar is in the way of Emmett climbing the ranks. Both halves of the main event are feared strikers and this fight has fan-friendly written all over it. Should Emmett get the job done come fight night, perhaps fans can soon catch him on the Joe Rogan Experience talking about fights and sushi. Do you think Josh Emmett would make for an interesting podcast guest? That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA News. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time. For updates, quotes, and exclusive interviews from all your favorite fighters, follow Sportskeeda MMA on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.